All right, so here's our system of equations we need to graph. Now to solve by graphing, it's basically just building off of what we already know, which is get it in y equals mx plus b form. Graph each equation. Okay, so in this case, system of equations, it's called a system of equations because the x and the y in each equation equals the same value for both equations. So I'm just going to separate this system, and I'm going to go ahead and solve each equation here. And just like we did before, solve it for y so we can get it in y equals mx plus b form and we can graph it. So this, I'm going to subtract x from both sides, so we'll have 2y equals negative x minus 7. And then we'll divide everything by 2. So we'll have y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3.5. Okay, so we have that, and later on, when we graph this line, I will graph that line in red. And then here, I'm going to graph this one in green. Go Rockets, right? So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. We'll have negative 3y equals negative 2x. Solve for y, so divide by negative 3, and we get y equals positive 2/3 x. Okay, and I'm going to graph this in green. So I'm going to graph each of those on the same coordinate plane, and where they intersect is going to be my solution. So if you're in my regular class, more than likely you're going to be given what y equals, what the equation is as a y equals form, but there will be some where you are going to have to solve. So looking here, and I'm going to move these, I guess I'm not going to move them, I will leave them there, or write them down so you have them. Come on here. Alright, so let's graph this. Negative 3.5, okay, means I'm going to go down, there's 1, 2, 3.5, so I'm going to be down here. And then we have to use our slope of negative 1/2, which means down 1, and then to the right 2. Okay, so I'm going to follow that process here, but I'm going to go up the other way. So I'm going to go up 1 and then to the left 2. Same thing, up 1, left 2. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to draw my line here then. Okay, and then here, with my green line, my y-intercept here is 0 because there's nothing. So there's my first point, and then I can go up 2 and to the right 3. But again, that's not helping me find my intersect because my other line's here. So I'm actually going to go down 2 and then to the left 3. And I already see that point of intersection. If you can see they're intersecting right here, which means that's the 2 points, or the 2 values where x is the same and y is the same for each of those lines, for each equation. So when x is negative 3 and y is negative 2, so my solution, it's actually going to be written as an ordered pair. So it's going to be negative 3, negative 2 will be my solution, but it's saying x is negative 3 and y is negative 2, and by all means we can check that. Let's go back to our original equations here. Okay, x plus 2y equals negative 7 and 2x minus 3y equals 0. Let's plug it in, and remember it has to work for both in order for it to be a solution. So let's plug negative 3 and negative 2 in for x and y. Negative 3 plus negative 4, negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. It works there, we have to make sure it works here. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and negative 6 plus 6, because negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. So negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 0 equals 0, it checks out. So our negative 3, negative 2 makes both of these equations true. Therefore, it is the correct solution to our system. So x is negative 3, y is negative 2. So it's essentially just graph the two, find where the two intersect, and that's your solution. I will tell you, and I know it was written in your notes, some things you have to be careful for. It is possible for these to have no solutions. No solutions are parallel lines, so if you graph your 2 lines and they're parallel, there is no solution. There's no point where those 2 lines are going to be the same. It is possible to have all solutions. All solutions is when your 2 lines, when you graph them and they are graphed on top of one another. That's all solution, because every spot on that line is a solution to both equations. So that would be all solutions, and then this is the one solution where your lines will eventually intersect, and at that one point is your solution. If you have any questions, make sure you bring them to me and ask. Otherwise, you can get started on your classwork, which I'll give to you in class tomorrow.